Now I want to talk about concrete laboratory practical number 5, compressive strength cube test. The main objective of this test is to determine the strength and workability of concrete mixture. The theory behind this test is to determine the concrete fulfill the required specification. Two types of testing to be conducted are wet concrete testing such as slump compacting factor and weak consistency, while hard concrete testing such as cube test and beam flexural strength. Hard concrete test was conducted at the age of 7, 14, 21 and 28 days after curing. The concrete strength increase according to the age and the strength increment will continue for some time. Nevertheless, for most of the work, the concrete strength on the 28 days is set as standard even though it might be determined at a much earlier or longer period. The increment rate of the concrete strength will be on the temperature and moisture during hardening process. Tools and equipment used in this test is a compression machine used to compress the cube, a cube mold, a hand float used to level the mold exactly at the top, and oil grease to prevent concrete stick around the interior surface of the cube mold, and a steel rod used to tamping each layer.
Working method for the compressive strength cube test is 1. The mold that will be used in the cube test must be cleaned internally using the wire brush. 2. The interior surface of the assembled mold is required to be thinly coated with the grease oil to prevent addition of concrete. 3. Pour the ready mixed concrete with certain mixed proportion into the mold in 3 layers, and each layer must be tamping 25 times using the compacting steel rod. Fill up the mold until overflow and level the surface using the hand float. 4. The above step should be repeated for another 2 more cubes with different mixed proportion. 5. Record the date of the mixture for every cube and submerge all the cube in the curing tank at temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and test on the 7, 14 and 28 days. 6. Before placing in water, the cube must be weighed while it is dry and record as M2. 7. When the cube is fully matured, it should be weighed again and record as M2 kg. 8. Place the cube to be tested at the center plate of the compression machine. Ensure both plates are in contact with the lower surface of the concrete plate. Release the load valve to raise up the bottom plate until the cube touches the above plate. Record the maximum load that will crush the test cube. Last, repeat the above step using the other cubes, then record the result accordingly. The data that we got for this test is ratio 25 in bracket 1, 1/2 and 3. For the cube number 1, 2 and 3, the date of cube made, the date of testing, age during the test is all the same. The date of cube made is 20 October, date of testing 27 October, the age is 7 days, but the cube weight is different. For cube number 1 is 7.76 kg, cube number 2 is 7.91 kg, last one is 7.90 kg. For the average cube weight is 7.86 kg. So for the compressive strength, after we calculate, as you can see here, this is the answer that we got. So for the calculation, as you can see here, this is the calculation. For cube number 1, load is 329 kN. Compressive strength equals to 329 multiplied by 1000 Newton over 115 multiplied by 115, and then we got this. For the cube number 2, load is 365 kN. So After we calculate 365 multiplied by 1000 Newton and over 150 multiplied by 150, and we got this. And the cube number 3, the last one, the load is 357 kN. So after we calculate, we got this. Okay, to get the value of standard deviation, the formula is S square root in bracket S1 minus S2 over N minus 1. So for the S1 is average of compression strength, S2 is actual the cube compression strength value for each cube, N is total. So for the cube number 1, after we calculate 15.57 minus 14.62 over 3 minus 1, and we got 0.689. For the cube number 2, after we calculate, we got 0.570, and the last one is minus 0.387.
For the discussion, in this test, I learned about the purpose of doing the cube test. We do this test to determine the compressive strength of the concrete. In this test, we use several of apparatus such as a compression machine, cube mold, steel rod, and hand float. The grade and proportion used in this test was grade 25. This test can be done after removing cube in the age 3, 7, 14, 21, and 28 days. After a week, we move the concrete from the cube mold and test the compressive by using the compression machine, and it shows us good result and the data needed to calculate the value of standard deviation. For the conclusion, to conclude, we know that we must perform our procedure gently and perfectly to ensure that we get the best result. If we do not care about the procedure, such as putting oil on the surface, the compressive strength will also change. Last but not least, from this test, we know how important it is to do a cube test on concrete. It is very important because we need to use the best quality of concrete in construction to avoid any hazard such as collapse construction.